Welcome to Smart Haus, a Pittsburgh podcast about smart technologies, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and the future. I'm your host, Dustin Dowling, and with me today is the host of the Babyface Assassin podcast, comedian Jeff Fieldhouse.
What's
up, Jeff? How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, man. I dig the setup.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff, what is your experience with tech? What do you physically got on you today that's tech-wise?
Just the iPhone. That's seen some days.
Yeah, it's a little wrecked up, but I do notice that there's at least 2 cameras on there.
Yes.
So what version is that?
13.
Wait, that's the 13.
Yes.
So that must be the low 13.
Yeah. This is the year where Jeff was paying his own phone bill, so
okay,
we're going the low 13.
We're going low because
I had a 7 before that.
Okay.
So
wow.
So I walked into the Verizon store, and the guy literally laughed at me, and I was like, dude, you're trying to sell me. Like, I hate you. I might switch stores. Like, fuck this.
I think it worked. I laughed at you too.
I know. So it's fine.
That's really funny. Well, see, I believe this is a 12, but the camera can see or not. I have 3 cameras on there, so I think that has to do with the focus. But yours is probably overall better, except, man, you do got some nasty scratches and stuff like that.
Yes.
Mine's physically bigger than yours, though.
Yeah, I feel like we're comparing pieces right now. No.
Sorry, I got really into that. I got
Mine's
really
physically bigger. I'm like,
like, what else you got?
So how those balls look on you? Like, okay, well, okay.
Yeah. All right, this podcast went off the rails immediately, and that's how I love it.
We work our way.
Yeah. So, like, how often do you use this phone? Are you in it like crazy? Because the Apple, they actually tell you how often.
Yeah.
You're using.
My percentage has gone down a little bit more recently because I made a point to not.
Yeah.
I think whenever I was like bored or anxious at home, I would use it, as most people would. We're all full-blown fiends at this point, but we just look down and use it. And there'd be times where I like open up Twitter, open up Instagram, open up Snapchat, open up Facebook, open up Twitter, open up Instagram, and you're like stuck in the cycle.
Yeah, you're getting this. Have you ever closed an app and then went right back into that app and then realized you're like, wait a second, that is the weirdest, dumbest thing.
You get online dementia where you're like your grandpa and you're like holding milk and then your wife's like, it's lime juice. And I'm like, it is lime juice. Like, I don't know what the fuck, how I got here. And it's happening.
So what kind of content are you actually taking in? I guess there's probably two questions to that. What kind of content are you actually getting from the phone, and what kind of content do you want, or what are you looking for when you're doing this?
I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm soldiers coming home and then strictly twerking videos. No, I don't know. Just looking for too broad.
Like the one with the dogs? Because those ones are much better than just the soldiers and the wives,
Yeah, that honestly is true, because there's times when the dog will just hit the little kid's shoulder and just like jump on the dad first. No,
I like when the dog doesn't care and runs right past.
It's just like,
oh, it's so funny to me.
That's you should show that video when people go, my animals are my children. When the dog just runs right past, it's like, okay,
man, don't like those people.
Podcasts mainly. I love listening to podcasts. It's kind of my on the way to work and on the way home from work commute. So that's a bunch. And I don't know, I love YouTube. Like, I love weirdly enough, like that Watch Mojo and like all the weird behind the scenes facts of like TV shows and movies. I kind of find myself divulging in. Like, on the way here, I was looking into like some behind the scenes drama on the show MASH, and I really liked MASH growing up, so I was watching that. I don't know, I think I just like
that's like my vice. Like, I catch myself with those kind of things, like Marvel or Star Wars, or some crazy movie with John Wick, and they like the behind the scenes like fan theory, and then I'm like, why am I watching this? It's like fake stuff about fake stuff.
Exactly. They never have like a source that proves it. It's always just the guy making the video.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what credibility do you have?
Because it's all about like the animation and the editing and the music underneath, and you can kind of just talk, and it's like, did I get anything from that?
No.
Did I get anything from that at all?
Do you think we're scratching the itch of like when you would get DVDs or VHSs and you could click on the behind the scenes option?
Oh yeah,
because I would love for that, and the less I had DVDs, the more I'm watching Watch Mojo.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it is now. I mean, they don't even need to like fully put their behind the scenes out there. They just kind of need to put it at like nauseum big, because they know that everyone else will just take it and edit it and make it all great for them, so they don't even have to do the work of that kind of stuff. But personally though, I do all love that stuff and I consume that stuff, but I purposely go out of my way to like find and learn things. And like I think that's why I like TikTok in particular, because I feel like it does have an algorithm of like, here's something actually kind of different. Like here's a space theory, and you're like, or a time travel theory, and you're like, okay,
and in a good amount of time too. Not like you don't see 12 more minutes on the video. They kind of do a good way of cutting the fat.
Yes, that's TikTok, and usually I have TikTok at the end, but you know, I like to put TikTok in everything.
Yeah.
So, do you have a watch or anything else?
No, I do have an Apple Watch that I have at home.
That doesn't do a lot of work there.
No, I came straight from work, and I work with like steel and a bunch of shit. So your boy can't be wearing that.
You're even allowed to at work.
You are, but I think that they're just like, you want to break it? Like,
yeah, it's like expensive
you
device.
Wear a nice suit to work next week?
So when you do have it, do you use like the stats for exercising?
Yeah, that, and I love using the voice record for open mics because the sound is so nice when it's right up on the mic. And your hands there.
So this is your recorder.
Yeah, I use the voice record on that.
That's pretty sweet.
Which is a lot cooler.
That's cool. I mean, I love mine. I use it like more and more and more. I'm talking to everything all the time. Do you have any smart devices at home, like an Echo Dot or a Google Assistant?
I do not.
So you don't have lights hooked up or anything like that?
No, I get a little sketched out about that.
Why is that? Why do you get sketched out about that?
I think I watched the movie. Speaking of the name of this, but Smart House on Disney.
Oh my God, there is a show called. I didn't even put the two together.
Neither did I until I read that, and I was like, "But that's Haus. Like that's the Pittsburgh house." Like,
yeah, the reason
you made it.
Someone said it like in the Inzer accent. And I was like, "Oh, that's a podcast idea." Yeah. That's literally what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. The Smart House Disney show.
No, I think that they kind of left everything up to the house, and then when you kind of lost control, and I'm already a pretty like go with the flow kind of guy, and I feel like I need the structure of like when it's time to go to bed, I need to get up and shut that light. But if I'm like doing this, what else is that gonna lead to? I'm gonna be like, Jeffrey, pull up the car. Like I think there's a little bit of me where it's like, hey buddy, shut that fucking light off, you lazy fuck. Get up and do it. And then when you lay in bed, you're like, this feels so much better. But if I was in bed just like, Alexa, living room light. I feel like when people say Alexa too, they're already rolling their eyes like, Alexa, like why are you pissed when it's doing the thing for you?
Yeah, I don't know, but it is true. But on the other end, I
I'm
do.
down to hear it.
So my whole house is set up. It's set up through Google, and branding wise, you can't change the damn name, so you do have to say, "Hey Google." So that is annoying.
Yeah,
but you can set
what would you call
everything up. Just something easy, because here's a side note. Like sometimes I ask, it is awesome to like ask it anything all the time. I have like math questions, quick trivia, like how far is away, something's opened. But like your brain is difficult because when you talk to AI, at least right now, you have to be more calm and like dictation.
Yeah.
You can't just be like your grandpa. Hey, giggers, can you tell what the gas prices are down the roads?
Yeah.
And the Google's not going to have any clue. But there's this other problem that I'm thinking so hard that I still don't say the right thing. So I just want to say, hey, Google, what is the temperature outside?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm going, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. And it's the same shit. Hey, Gigs, the temp's outside. It's like, nah, God damn it, what's wrong with me?
This isn't my neighbor.
No. But what I do have is I have routines. So I do have, hey, Google, I'm up. And it turns all my lights on, turns the TVs on, and changes the temperature in the house.
That's cool.
And the same thing when I say I come home and good night. And so I can turn things on and off. So it is, instead of saying, turn this light off, turn this light off, I just say, hey, Google, good night. And the whole house just goes.
But doesn't that scare you that like when Google goes to bed, you go to bed?
Yes, like that is the issue.
It kind of made the bedtime. Like I don't know.
100%.
See, that freaks me out.
It's already happening.
But this could be my problem. I feel like I can freak out and put my feet in the sand, but the ocean's going. Part of me is like, Jeff, you got to get on your buoy and you just got to let the lazy river take you. Like at one point, I just got to give up and just be like, giggle. Jerk me off.
Jerk me off.
It's going to lead to something, but
everyone always gets to that point on this podcast, and I'm not doing that podcast yet, but the technology they have for porn and VR is weird, and it's too good, and it's probably not that I've used it, but I've seen it and know how it's like, well, that society's over.
Yeah, and I read Playboy for the articles. Okay,
yeah.
Seen it.
But no, that's weird because so I have my bedtime connected to my watch and stuff, and so I think around I go to bed around 10 because I'm old, around 9 or 10, and it will tell me, hey, it's about your bedtime, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's about my bedtime. I gotta go to bed.
Google is your parent going like?
Actually, it's Siri on my phone, but same
up.
thing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. And how's it make you? There are ever nights where you're like, but I want to stay up.
Yeah, but I do. But there is that sense of like, I should go to bed. I should.
It is good willpower. It is good, like, to keep you on track. That is good. But once you're on
its track forever. Here's another example. And I said this on the show before is, I usually have a dentist appointment. Most people do every 6 months for a cleaning.
Yes.
And I put that into my calendar. I do it now. I still have to. I go to the dentist and they're like, okay, we'll be back in 6 months. Let's put that in. And once I put it in the calendar, now it's in the system and I will get reminded in the morning. If it's that day, Dustin, you have a dentist appointment. But we are a few steps away from that. I'm not putting into the calendar anymore. It's all automatic. And then I'm just told, Dustin, time for your dentist. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, well, the next thing they're going to add to that is dinner, other appointments. Or now, you're right, in the future, we're just being told to do and go places. Who's in charge?
Yeah.
Who's in charge?
Because you are making the schedule, but
for now,
at one point, it's going to start feeling like butterfly effect where like it says go to work and then you like start going home. It's like, Dustin. You're like, I'm doing me. Like you just gotta like,
yes,
like Truman Show. Like you're just like, just fucking go your way out. But there's probably good and bad. I feel like that there's good balance. But yeah, it is gonna go where I feel like comfort and convenience are gonna be our ultimate downfall.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're just doing this all for convenience.
It is all for, and I think it's what smart cities will be, especially if they add. What's that? I always forget the word for that, but that income where everyone gets a certain amount of income in the government. And like that'll be a smart city. So everyone will maybe work a little bit, but everyone kind of has their own money. And then it's just like a whole smart city of everyone just telling everyone where to go and what to do. And you're living in like pods.
And that money like kind of goes back to whatever like marketplace you're playing
Yes,
on
the money. Yeah, exactly. Because the money's
like,
going.
Oh, you don't need to work anymore. You're now our internal providers. Like,
yes,
you were the one helping the new machine because the machines can already do the work that's going to make us money. Like we don't need you working. That's too loud. What if you call off? You're never going to call off to joining the VR. You're never going to.
Yeah, because they're going to be somehow farming some kind of information. I mean, there's some not black box. What was that awesome show on Netflix? Black Mirror episodes of like them kind of being in a spot and the guy would wake up and there'd be an advertisement rolling and if he wouldn't look at it, the whole thing would like blink. Like you have to look. It sort of happens now if you don't pay premium for YouTube. You got to skip the ad, or you're not even allowed to skip the ad. Sometimes you have to watch.
And usually the ad is just like, "Have you shaved your balls, Manscaped?" And I'm like, "It's 4 a.m. Can we reel it in?" Like,
so I 100% agree with that. And there are some aggressive ads at the same time. Yeah. I own that. I own that device.
I've been asked by like people where they're for Christmas, like family members, like, "You want some Manscaped?" And I was like, "I'll ask." Like, let me ask that, okay? Like, it's gonna be pawning that off.
See, that's what's the thing with the artificial intelligence in advertising. It's also, I think, smart enough not to just throw the ads at you,
but
to the people around you, 100%. Knowing that, like, get this for Jeff. Jeff wants this. Jeff has hairy. Hey, by the way, we know Jeff has really hairy balls. Just don't ask how we know. They're cookies and the cash, but we know.
See, and this is why it sucks because I shaved 2 days ago, and there's no way to prove it besides showing my balls.
Actually, I did check that's how I know this conversation came up.
You checked my Alexa and I told her I shaved my balls. Well, it is going to be good for like accountability. Like if I was very much so on drugs and I had a sponsor that I wanted to make sure I was cool. And they're like, I noticed these 3 days you skipped work. You didn't go to your dentist appointment. It would be good for that if you want some accountability, but I don't know. We can always go kind of like, what was that, 1984, whatever the book was called.
Yeah.
We can always go down that Orwellian hole.
We are going down that way. And so I think that's another Black Mirror episode is the guy, he's peeing and there's a mirror in front of him. And then a bunch of stats come up and says that he has drank too much alcohol. And if he does it again, he's going to lose his insurance. And then he does it again the next day, and a big thing comes up says your insurance has now been canceled because it's testing his pee every time he went to the bathroom.
That could be like how with health insurance, if you're a smoker, it goes down.
Yeah.
And so they start going it into your life. Like, if we're going to give it to you for free.
Yeah. I mean, now with all the COVID stuff, like
Yeah.
you have like people getting like over in China, in Shanghai, where they basically have shut down that whole city for months. And I think right now, if it's not completely shut down, but if you want to do anything, you have to get tested every 3 days. You swab up your nose every 3 days to do anything.
Damn.
So, I mean, they got your DNA. They got it. You know, it's just like as soon as they got to make that faster, they're just going to be like, well, you know, actually, you have COVID, cancer, yada, yada, yada. You're actually not you can't have insurance. Sorry. Sorry. Go. The burning rooms are over there. You can incinerate yourself. Thank you for coming and playing.
Yeah. Come again, dude.
Come again.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good transition to do some news because the European Union's in the news and they might be in charge of all this stuff, you know, burning the people with the COVID problems and they're not making enough money. But their set agenda right now is on Apple because Apple will not switch their power adapters to what we want. They're always changing it. Like right now, what we have Lightning. What was before Lightning? I don't even remember the terminology.
It was just the thick boy that everyone loved. And when it changed, everyone was just like, we like him thick.
Yeah.
Like Lizzo started playing. We're like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, my favorite thing was when they switched to where you could flip it anymore.
Yeah.
Because that was all USB right now, the standard USB. Everyone's playing that game where it's like, is it this way or is it this way? Is it this way? And you can never get it right. Well, anyway, so the European Union has come together and they say everything has to be USB Type-C. So that's like mobile phones, tablets, headphones, pretty much everything. Now, this is obviously just Europe.
Yeah.
So, like, technically, any type of company, manufacturers could make separate, you know, phones and stuff for different countries, but that would probably cost too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't see them doing that.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? Because here's a quick devil's advocate, you know, it disrupts innovation and like maybe that's real thin. It keeps the iPhone real thin. You know, I don't know. So.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have the same feeling as this Switch. At first, I'm going to be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then after a few months, I'm going to be like, all right. It's
you're going to be like
annoying when you go to friends' houses and they don't have the new one where it's like, all right, dude, like tax bracket difference. Like, let's talk about that. Those first couple of weeks, you were looking at friends different. Like I think almost like they were half Android.
Yeah. I had a friend come over for the first time a couple weeks ago and she brought like her own like set of chargers. And I was laughing because at first I'm like a touch tech guy, so I'm ready for anyone that new coming over. I'm like, I feel like I'm that person. I'm like, I got you. You know, I got this type. But at the other end, I'm like, no, she's probably right because how awful would that be? Because she's never been here before. Come over. Oh my God, my phone's dead. I'm stuck in this dude's house. I don't, you know. But like right now, this is USB-C right now.
Oh, I've used that.
So.
See, I kind of like it. It does seem European.
Like,
even just as a cord when I put it in, it's like, oh, okay.
But I mean, I want everything to be wireless, though. That's what I really want.
See, I was laying in bed, and is this not a thing yet? Because if not, Shark Tank, open your ears with this part, all right? Come on, Barbara Corcoran. I think she just joined in. But
check the comments. That might be her.
Why can't we get a Bluetooth where it's just a little adapter, and then it connects to the adapter in the wall? Like, it's a little, like... It's even the part of the cord, but without the cord.
Yeah.
And as long as you're a certain radius away, why is that a thing?
Because Bluetooth is one of the worst pieces of technology ever
does suck.
invented. I don't know what deal they made with the devil. Because for them to be still around and still dealing with Google and Apple, and they still treat them as like a top tier part of the functionality. I mean, if I pull this thing down right now, I can turn Bluetooth on and off. It's literally one of the top things you see in the corner of this phone. And it just works. It's awful. You should be able to multi people should be able to hop on the device, make playlists, and it's just like this invisible piece of technology that has no interface. It's really weird. I don't get it. And so I think that's part of the deal. We're like, no, we're not allowed to do it that way.
With all the pairing things, that we have so many other things that would probably pair to, like trying to hook up a speaker at someone's new house, or like a speaker that was at your house and you bring it over to a friend's pool party. It's like, can we try? Press it again.
Press it again. Like, what am I linking to? I think it's the SR153966649.
And then the neighbor's like,
that's
what
the neighbors.
Fuck?
Yeah. I think I saw a video there of the company Sonos, which is, you know, I always think it was Sono. I swear to God they brand it themselves because if like you squint hard enough, you think it's Sony.
Yeah.
But it's Sonos. And I saw, it was a TikTok, and like the procedure to like hook this up to a Bluetooth was ridiculous. Like you had to download the app to control this, and then you had to connect the Bluetooth. It was like a 6-step thing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I don't know why they keep like changing the names. Like, why is it called like 6695 Zebo? Like,
it should always be easier.
Unnecessary. I love how this is supposed to be like a tech news show with some serious news about technology, and I just get revved up at the guest, and then I try to get the guests revved up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be leaving here fucking
just angry.
I got some beef. Yeah, got some tech beef that I didn't even know.
Oh, the future is so strange, and I don't know what to do about it.
I'm just gonna wake up like Bluetooth.
Yeah,
like I don't know why.
So some more exciting power cable news. We're gonna keep rolling with that. By the way, we're not gonna stop. So Apple is having their WWDC event. Without looking at my notes, what's that stand for?
WWDC.
WWDC.
Oh fuck, dude! I'm dyslexic, so we're already starting bad.
W.
Yeah, I know that.
Start with W. Guess that word.
All right, I'm just gonna say worldwide.
Worldwide. All right, you got the first two.
Worldwide.
Halfway there. D.
This is not gonna be about devices.
Devices, no, but keep going. Device. App. Worldwide devices. What's the C?
Corporation.
Oh, I thought you were gonna at least go 2 for 3, but no. It is the Worldwide Developers Conference, which I think is stupid.
I was gonna say developers. Fuck.
Because worldwide is one word.
Yeah.
And then Developers Conference. So I don't even like, and they actually call it the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference. This is why scientists and engineers are terrible at naming things. They're just off.
Marketing.
Yeah, back to the Sonos 156666. They're terrible at doing this. Anyway, so the story is in this huge conference they get of all the awesome stuff. They have once again changed the power cable. So if you can see on this one, we were just talking about USB-C. Yeah. This is actually a USB-C laptop. This is Apple. So it's weird that they're arguing about the Lightning. So, but this is USB-C, but people complained. So on the new one, they actually have the mag, back to the old school Maglite. No, was that what it was called?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they brought that back.
Just because people complain. See, I have an old school MacBook. I think I got it like in 2000.
Pre-pandemic is like another world. So
yeah,
yes,
right,
long time ago.
So a decent bit. So even looking at this and seeing those small holes, I'm like, fuck.
Seeing the small holes. That's what it all is. I think Apple, they didn't like the look of the Maglite.
Which I don't either. It does look a little...
Looked like they had a disease or something happened to it. It does look like that. Yeah, I think that they like that seamless, like it doesn't even look like that's an outlet. Maybe that's a fan.
Yeah.
But enough people obviously complained and they brought it back. But the USB-C does still work. So if I had to get the new laptop, I could work that.
Yeah.
So, but there's lots of functions they brought to this awesome conference. And one of the ones most talked about is now you can edit and unsend your Apple messages, which is the blue.
Yes.
The blue messages, right? Not the green. Yeah, the only ones that matter. So what's your feelings on that? Because I guess it's more like, can you do that other than maybe Snapchat? I don't know.
Instagram you can unsend.
Okay, Instagram. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's a lifesaver for a lot of people that are just too quick to the text thing. For those late night texts that you probably shouldn't be sending, to the really angry. Like, have you ever been pissed off that like you thought something and then you texted and then like right after you find out information that was completely wrong, you're like, oh shit.
It's not only that like what I said was necessarily wrong.
No,
it was like so unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just in, and it's weird when you're texting. Your emotions with this is not the same as when you talk.
No.
And like if you get in that mode where you're just like send, and then you just that feeling that hits you, you're like, I think I just ruined my life, you know?
Literally. And that's so funny you said that. And I think that's why people are so ruthless on social media, because it is their inner voice head. And in that head, you can say whatever you want. That's where you're like driving down the street and you're like, fuck this guy. And you're just like, where you're walking in the mall, you're like, well, that person's ugly. And you're seeing the shit. And they're doing it on their phone. And I think this is important because they're starting to learn that we're just getting used to being fused as one with humans and technology.
The
at that
Borg.
point. And this is like when we finally went to therapy and the therapist goes, before you freak out, let's take a breath.
Yeah.
And I think the
take a moment.
Unsend is a fucking breath where you're like,
I 100%
oh God,
agree.
no.
And so we'll jump more into VR, but I wanted to make a note of this is like in VR that you said you used a little bit. When I talk in VR and I've seen my daughter talk in VR, I do feel that better sense of like, we kind of got to watch, I can't just say anything.
Yeah.
It's weird because even though it's video game-ish, but you're still using your voice. I want to say it's really something with you vocally saying the thing from your brain compared to texting it. It's almost like two different people. It's weird like that. Well, we're gonna keep talking about Apple because they just love to make all their big announcements and like everything bigger and better than it really is. So other things that they're bringing to the phone and the computers is more excuse me. Like South Park. They're gonna bring more of an animated and interactive things to the lock screen. So when you get your first lock screen, you'll just hear, and some people you gotta like, put in your number or whatever. I have mine wide open, but they're gonna start putting more, let's see, this kind of fancy stuff.
Oh, on the lock.
Yeah. So like the weather, your calendar, and I think that's like makes sense to me because looking at my phone right now with all the apps, like when I look at it, I almost see just like a wash of colors now.
Yeah.
It's hieroglyphics to me. Actually, even at one point, if you look at your phone, the font when it started, back when they had the first iPhone, the font was way bigger.
Yeah.
So you could read it, and then people start realizing, well, we don't need to read words.
Yeah.
We have pictures.
Use a logo, buddy.
Yeah, use a logo. But even now, I kind of swipe up and I get like the most recent.
100%.
And some people, use voice. Like I've always, like I said before, I can voice activate Spotify all the time. So I think that's kind of moving is like we don't necessarily need the apps to turn them on. We want the interactive, how much money did I make today? Or like, what's the closest coffee shop? So I think that's cool. But at the same time, it's like, ooh, more animations and stuff. Like, more bubbles. So
I can see it quicker. Like,
I see it faster. It's more in my face. It's like more ads. So
yeah, there's definitely good and bad, but I do like that though, because like you said, that screen to go to. Sometimes I don't always like pushing left, which sounds so lazy, but once you open it is nice just to press it and just get a quick rundown.
It's the same thing I say when I wake up in the morning, where I say, "Hey Google, good morning." When she also tells me the news, the weather, and like what I'm doing that day.
That's cool.
So I think it is. So maybe come back all around. I do like it. I do like it. I nerd out over it. I like to swipe left and know exactly what's up.
Yeah,
you know,
like customizing that. I had an Android for 1 year, and it was like
scary.
Back in the old days, though, it was like when I was in 7th grade. So.
Oh, that's so far. Well, I guess I forgot our age. Our age might be different.
So I'm 26.
Oh, okay. So I'm more than a decade older than you.
Would never guess that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, shit. Well, yeah. So shit. How long ago? Probably like 14 years.
Okay, that's still. I mean, it's still a long time.
So a decent bit, and I love the customization. That's everyone you talk about on Android. They're always like, "But I can customize my home screen however I want." Like, yeah. And once we found out jailbreaking at that time, I was like, "Okay, we can jailbreak."
Yeah.
So let's figure that.
I was a jailbreaker at one point in time.
Yeah.
I would love to jailbreak and make everything all customizable, and then like a couple times, like I'd brick something, and I was like, "All right, I fucked myself now." So
take it to Apple, and they're like, "This didn't fall in the toilet. You jailbreak."
Yeah. It's obviously all unscrewed open or whatever. So it's hilarious. So now we're going to get into the VR, which we have somewhat talked about a couple times. But I did ask you earlier if you were a gamer, and you said yes. What kind of games do you play?
I do like some Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
I do like some shooters. I finally got back into the new Call of Duty. I bought it yesterday.
The one that just came out, the Modern Warfare. Okay.
I don't know why, but my friend was like, "That's more like the older ones with the gameplay," and I liked it a lot more. I'm a big sports guy. Like recently I got the new MLB, and I love being a closing pitcher for the Pirates. Something about it's just so comforting being a closing fucking pitcher and just enjoying.
Is it because the team sucks so bad, you just feel like you can kind of role play and like it could be good?
100%.
It could be good.
And that's why I made sure to say closing and not starter, because starter could be my fault. And since I'm a closer, I'm like, I'm just cleaning up the dishes. I didn't eat. Like, this ain't me. I'll get traded. I'll be like one of the Pirates, like Hall of Fame closing pitchers, and then play for the Yankees.
So what do you like about playing the game? Is it that you're trying to, work the pitches? Like, okay,
Yes.
this count, I got to throw this count of this. Or do you kind of want to feel like you're immersed? Like, I am the pitcher, you know? What's like, who's on first? Like, which more is it?
I think it's a little bit of both. MLB, they're like, my career isn't too in depth. Like some games, like it'll show you like walking into the press conferences. MLB's pretty nut and bolts. Like you're pitching or you're just sitting in this dugout, just like staring at your phone.
Yeah.
So I don't get too much like me living out of it and stuff. But for what you said, the strategy of it, like picking the pitches, learning different pitches, and just kind of getting in a flow, like creating a style. And then like 4 games later, completely switching that style and following the stats too. Like I love kind of like beating other starting pitcher stats and stuff.
Fantasy stats, like real fantasy stats.
Exactly.
No, so in the game, because I've seen this with other video games, can you like take questions at the press conference and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And there's like options.
NBA, you can do that.
It's kind of silly almost.
When the options they give you too, will one be like, be diligent or be sassy, and the sassy's just like, I don't feel like talking. It's like, what the fuck? Like, if you're not playing this game and being a heel, like you should always just be the most heel you can. Like, who's trying to be a nice guy? Like in GTA, where there would be sometimes if I was bored, I'd stop at the red lights, or I'd keep going just to feel good with the drive. But if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, I'm shooting shit up, I'm robbing stuff because I wouldn't do it in real life.
One of the first times, I'm not gonna lie, that I first got GTA, one of the original ones, when you could actually drive around, like it was legit the game. Yeah, I think I did that in the first week. I was like, what's it like if I just cruise and I don't break the law?
No.
And I was like coming up to stoplights and going, and then eventually and then what was funny is I was still accidentally wrecking the car because it was harder to drive slow because I guess they didn't think like, why would they be driving around obeying the law?
AI isn't ready for that. They're like, whoa.
The AI was not ready for that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like this is funny. Like we talk about some things and we end up at the end. This is all I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of TikTok, and on TikTok Live a lot, there are people playing the GTA 4. I think is the highest one you can get. GTA 5's coming out soon, but in GTA 4 it's all multiplayer. And it's like serious role playing.
100%.
So like the people were like not only like are playing in the cop cars, like they have like this huge access like this to the city and stats and like people, and so you could really play like, oh, we got 459 on it, and everyone else is playing on the server the same way.
Those are the PC people that mod it. So
and they're
able to mod and join a like server where it's crazy. Like he'll walk up to a random AI that he pulls over and he can like look at their driving record. He can look at like all this stuff. He can call for backup. Like, that's where I see it, and I'm like, that is really fucking cool. And
I think it's really cool. It's so much fun.
Jump to VR. Imagine how real that would be if you have like the setup, you're driving around. Are some people just gonna become like virtual like cops?
Virtual cops.
Where they're driving around like slowing people down or
so the gameplay of it, yes, absolutely. And there's a couple times where I'm watching this on TikTok and I'm going, so what do I need to download to play? Because I'm like, this looks like a lot of fun. And like, you know, and it's like, it's such more of an immersive role play. You're not playing a video game where like I'm beating a boss or I got to get to point A. It's just like, I'm living in this crazy world. Like there's a movie with Ryan Reynolds called Free Guy.
Just watched it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And it kind of has that feeling of you're in GTA and what you can do. And of course it kind of does that Matrix theme of like, oh, what if the sentient software becomes sentient inside and that kind of shit. But like, I think that will be wild and weird and totally happen.
Well,
but
why do we like that though? Why do we like the game once it got realer? Like once we didn't like it if we're beating a boss or doing these missions, but we're like, but when we can pull somewhere and see their records and like, it's like Earth Part 2. Like we like the technology.
It is. You know what? That's really funny that you say Earth Part 2 because I think there's two things. One, it's like this bigger version, more dramatized version of Earth, but much less consequences.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, you can fuck with this guy. Like when you pull over, you can pull a gun on him. Maybe you shoot him because in the game it's crazy. You can just kill anyone in this game. And it's like, oh, whatever. I think that's kind of what the movie Westworld or the show Westworld was. Where like people were getting so crazy they were killing the robots and stuff, and it was kind of bad because these people were like living out there. Everyone just become murderers. Like for some reason that's the end game. It's like, oh, we can do anything with no consequences. Let's kill everybody. Like what is wrong with us?
It's wild.
Like that's wild. But you're right. Earth 2.0. And since you said that, it made me think about like how they advertise this VR and how they're advertising the multiverse. And they're advertising the multiverses. That's going to be internet version 3.0.
I've heard that.
So I guess right now we're in internet 2.0.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what was the difference between 1.0 and 2.0.
MySpace and Instagram.
You're right. It was social media.
Yeah, it's that.
That's what it is.
I feel like social media.
You're right.
And it's once we dedicated that social media was going to be on a daily basis and we were going to post events that we couldn't have gone to unless we went on social media. Once it became a part of the fabric of people's day-to-day and lives, I think that's when Internet Part 2
Internet Part 2 is Earth Part 2,
yeah.
2.0.
Well, do you see there is a thing called Earth 2 where people are buying land and it's a full scan and you can buy like PNC Park.
Yep.
And once like people go in that metaverse, they would have to charge you to come into that.
We are so on the same wavelength. We're going to talk about wavelength in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But that is such a great lead into what I was literally talking about too. And you said about like worlds and like, are we going to be cops and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes. Because those places, people are going to spend money. Digital, real money, doesn't matter. Eventually, it's real worth to them, like in a digital space. So if it's popular in a space that people will congregate, then it's going to be popular to advertise in that space or to live in that space. So you're going to want to pay money to like put an advertisement, just like Times Square. That's why Times Square is the way it is. So there'll be a virtual Times Square, whatever multiverse, whoever does it will say it's Zuck's world, which his ones are awful. I think they're called horizontal. They're called horrors. No, that's terrible. Called horizontal? Horizons.
Yeah, Horizons.
Yeah,
and it looks like an upgraded Wii world.
Yes,
it's still weird.
It's so awful. It's so awful. But you're gonna have to have digital police or some kind of security if it's gonna be AI.
Because couldn't they hack or couldn't they mess with it or do something?
Yeah, it's like the Matrix.
It is your property. Yeah, that's a really good.
The more expensive people will be real people that come in and are police. But the cheap will be like an artificial intelligence. And it will actually, sometimes the artificial intelligence will be smarter. And like that would be actually funny. So people will first they'll hire artificial intelligence to secure their digital property. But then people will get better because there'll be more fun doing the role playing, and then you'll hire real people. But then the AI will go. Then by then you won't even know if you're in VR anymore.
And they're doing it in such good ways of getting us ready for that. Like that's something that I never understood NFTs until I talked to a friend who's an artist, and he actually is like pretty deep in the VR and like metaverse world and learning about it. And he explained to me like this: he's like, when you design your metaverse house, you're gonna want art. That's gonna be the art on that wall. So people are looking at NFTs like, so what, you own it? It's like, yeah, but if you come to my house, it's like having a crib in like GTA or like Sims where you buy that. And with younger kids now playing Fortnite and all that, and they're getting so used to buying a virtual skin for their player. And as parents, and even me now, it's like you're buying a skin for a player to wear.
Even me now.
And it's getting them ready to being used to spending real money on virtual things that they consume.
Because you don't want to look like a loser.
No.
And my big turnaround, I've been saying this, the last couple weeks have been the change that I've had. They've had the update in a game called Populous 1, which is a shooter game. It's very similar to Fortnite. But the update was the corner of the map, they put like an actual city. So basically it like quadruples the size of the map, because not only is you're on the plane, all the levels, and it's very interactive, and with the guns, and you reload and you look down the scope. And I got like a better piece of technology that wraps the thing around my head, and now I am legit walking around like I've always dreamt of when I was a kid and playing the game, and I'm in.
You're having fun?
It's way more. It's the most fun thing I've ever done.
That's awesome.
So the problem is like I gotta get out. Like I want to go play paintball for real. I did when I was younger, but like obviously it's a lot easier just to go in my living room and be like, let's go, let's do this.
So you're gonna have a night where you're on that, and then to get off, it's gonna be Alexa being like, go to bed.
Yeah,
and you're take that off.
And it's just kind of like, or there'll be something kind of like noise or something, and it just sets me to bed.
Yeah,
you know? I'm just like, and I'm never out of it. Like it keeps me the whole thing in. So speaking of being all in there, has this already happened? Are we already in a simulation? We're already levels in, maybe.
You could be. The game The Sims could have been a fuck you in our face when we started playing it growing up. And I've been trying to type Rosebud into my computer to become rich in real life for years, okay? I wish. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's fucking possible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm really close already.
Yeah.
Like, if you just make the graphics more, you know, and other sensory, you know, gloves or whatever else. I mean, I've seen things now where they were plugging things into monkey brain. Yeah. A monkey, he's alive, but he has a monkey brain. Obviously, he's a monkey, and he was playing a video game, and he was just sitting there. It was just Pong. He was just plugged in.
So that's
playing.
like some Neuralink shit.
Yeah,
where you're just doing it with your brain.
That's some crazy stuff.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it would be sick. I mean, what's leading me more towards it now is my sister's in Nashville. She just had 2 kids. My brother is in Philly, and my parents are in Florida, and if you could get us all in a VR and we would have a cool ass living room, I would love to once a week just to like be with them. I feel like it'd be more intimate in a way to where if I couldn't, now that wouldn't stop me from visiting them any less. But I think for stuff like that, I think it'd be fucking awesome.
That is the future. It's so the future, like in the next couple months. Kind of like people are probably already doing it now. It's the weird me things, but I've seen other pieces of technology where you can scan yourself, and then like that kind of gives you like a hologram rendering or a 3D rendering, and then so in the world you look like you. Now, when they're saying about multiverse, and you kind of picked up on this too, but the whole idea is, well, what people want to be able to do is say like, I got a cool gun in the Call of Duty multiverse. And I keep bringing up Call of Duty because you played that game, and that was like my main video game, that style of video game I like to play. Now that I have that, or even a hat, like let's go there. Let's do our clothes, because that's what we were talking about, NFTs. So I have a cool piece of clothing that I got out of Call of Duty. I think I look cool in this. I want to go into the SimCity universe, Sims universe, and bring that with me. So I look like it. That's what they want to happen. That is not possible now. But I think the best way of like thinking about that is the Marvel multiverse and how they're doing it. It's like you're opening a portal. So if I'm wearing a hat and I'm in the New York Earth 6 whatever they call it in the Marvel thing, and I want to go to this one, I get my clothes. Everything goes with me. So that's what they want to happen, and that's the best way to think about it. So
what if that is like time travel, to where they could bring up like, if you get a good enough editor that could read like let's just say the Lincoln shooting, and they could recreate that, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there, like recreate historic events. I think that'd be cool. And if you have like a past family member, we're gonna have so much. By the time we get to work, we're gonna have so much of ourselves on the internet that I feel like they could create an AI version of us where we could come in a room and deal with some of those emotions, and they could talk like us. And
so they actually, this is in one of the Iron Man movies. Robert. I forget his name. I was gonna call Robert De Niro, but that's not right. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony. Showcases that technology, and that's when he, like him and his dad, I think he makes some of it up. Like it's young him and his dad, and they're having a conversation. He's like, here's memories, you know, but some of it maybe wasn't true. But you're right. So there's going to be 2 versions of time travel. There's going to be, okay, can we really do time travel? And then there's going to be like this fake version, because we have recorded everything with more cameras that. This is pretty much it. Like, you gotta think in the future where I feel like everything's recorded at every angle, and like we can just be like, "Hey, remember back in blah 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 blah." And that's another Black Mirror actually episode. They actually have contacts and they're recording everything.
That's when the one guy wasn't he going crazy with his wife? Or
his wife's cheating, and he makes him like rewind to this day. I want to see it, and he has it in there.
That dude, such a good job with that show, and I see why the creator stopped for a little bit and was like, "Let me stop willing things into existence." Or giving people ideas.
Dude, I actually stopped watching it for a little, because I have some movie ideas, and some of that was there. I'm like, that's my idea to sort of do that. I'm like, ooh, that's weird, that might happen. And then stuff start to happen. Same thing with like the movie Idiocracy. Sometimes you're like, that stuff's actually happening. So he was probably freaking himself out. But anyways, we're going to go into a little bit of some time travel, and I'm going to teach you what the double slit experiment is.
Please do. Okay.
So the best way I like to describe this, I'll describe it the video game way, because I think it's a lot easier. When you're playing a video game and you're looking this way, everything is like rendered out in front of you. And the computer is actually not processing anything else. because it would be too much processing speed. There are other ways that they are, but to simplify it, we're going to say what you're looking at is what the computer is processing. So if I turn around and look this way, it's going to start processing things there. And now this is gone. So because it's a waste of space, it's a waste of processing speed to do that. So if no one's looking at it and it's not measured, it's not technically happening or there. And so they've actually proved this in our real reality that is actually happening.
Wait, so what's behind me isn't behind me, and it's only because I'm looking. Then are we AI? Because what the fuck?
Are we, or what is it? What are we kind of data? So the way they did it was, okay, so it's called the double, what did I say? Double split, right?
Double slit.
Double slit. I always say double split.
Yeah, because slit sounds a little
the
vulgar.
double slit experiment. And so let me move my mouse when I try to do this at the same time. So if you would have particles, so you would think like little bee guns. So if I had a gun and I'm shooting particles, I can actually do it because light particles, and you could see here. Hold that card up. See if we can do it, like so the camera can actually maybe kind of see. You can actually see the lines because they're really crappy. They're really crappy lines. They're like perfect, and because basically light particles are going through there and hitting that and making that those lines.
Yeah.
Now try to imagine that we have a big thing of water here, and I put this in the water, and then this is at the other end of the water. And then like I make something drop here, and now we have waves of water, and waves of water go through this. Well, when it hits this, you're gonna have that weird thing where now you're gonna have a bunch of waves come out. So instead of two lines, you're gonna have a couple of different lines, but the two lines in the middle are gonna be like the heaviest. It's gonna be like gradient out because it's just like one big wave hits this, and then you got two waves, and those two waves hit each other, and they do that ripple effect, just like you see when if you throw a rock into the water, throw another rock into the water, the waves hit each other. So what they did was they took an experiment, and they had a thing they measured. They put it right here. So when it was watched and it was measured, they got the lines. But if they took it away and they put the camera here and they didn't measure it, they got the waves.
What the fuck?
So basically what they're saying is if it's not measured and if it's not looked upon, it's waves. It's like it's happening because the theory is that everything's happening at the same time always.
Oh, so you can't.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And the only reason we feel time is because the particles have moved and changed from this time to that time. So that's why we perceive time this way.
Break it down.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. That makes me rethink about the whole like, did the tree fall in the woods and make a noise if no one was there?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I'm like sweating trying to explain that.
No, that was like a cool ass science class. That's trippy as fuck.
So if you also heard the same thing that gravity is time. Have you heard that one before? So like Interstellar does like a good job of this movie or a good job of that theory.
That was actually really cool.
Yeah. So the more the more gravity there is, the slower time will be. So anyways, I'm going to do the plane theory here of time travel, and this one is crazy. So we kind of talked about a little bit of like if the universe was on a plane, and that's how you think about it. So you think the universe is this piece of paper, and we talked about how a hologram can be a piece of paper, right? When you look at a hologram, it's 3D. It looks like what this looks like. Yeah. So our universe could be a flat plane. Yeah. So we can think that flat plane, but what also people forget is that you know it doesn't have to physically be flat. You can make this your plane.
Yeah.
So if you're on the inside, that's your world. On the inside or on the outside, that's your world. I think Wrinkle in Time, if you read that book as a kid, they would say a thing, if you want to travel from here to here, well, it takes a long time to go here to here, but you do so that you go a lot faster. But instead of hooking it this way, let's like roll it out. I already made one like this. And this is the plane of reality we could be on. All right. And on this plane, I actually have a timeline. So we're going to start this timeline here for COVID. So right here, I have 2019 is our first infection. And in 2020, we have the COVID pandemic. So in 2021, we're all sad. Yeah. Okay. We're so sad that we invent time travel. All right. So then we time travel to 2019 and we stop the outbreak. Then there's no COVID in 2020.
Okay.
So we're all happy in 2021. But we're so happy that we invent time travel, that we go back in time in 2019 and accidentally start the first infection, and there's a COVID pandemic, and now we're sad again, and we're so sad we had to invite in time travel. So you actually went back in time. You thought you went back in time to fix the pandemic, but you actually made the pandemic, which keeps happening over and over again. That's another theory of time travel. So time travel could work. You can do it.
So is this why history like repeats itself in some senses?
Well, that's a whole other way to think about it. But like, it's just like, what reality are we in? Like, how that one blows my mind, because it's mathematically correct. When I was
that it could be plausible.
It is possible. Yeah, like this is totally, when you put all the numbers together, because I don't understand, that's like out of my realm when they actually start doing the equations.
That's the whole butterfly effect theory too. Where like,
yeah.
If you do change it, it still could come back to the original outcome or a worse one.
Right, because I think the conversation really is like, a lot of the early movies when they deal in time travel and stuff, is there's always a paradox.
Yeah.
Like if you went back in time, like the Back to the Future one, and like, because they're fading away in that one, it's like, if you killed your grandfather, you went back in time and killed your grandfather, you can't be alive anymore.
Yeah.
But in this theory, that you could.
And then you would go back, and then you wouldn't kill him.
You wouldn't, or like, you don't know. I think that's a different one. I think I would have to write that one out.
Yeah.
But like,
I do like that. That's very, very interesting.
Yeah. So it's a completely different way. If people think, well, it's a paradox, it's not possible. But I was like, well, actually, it is possible. So
do you believe in there's like multiple Dustins?
Yeah. I think so.
Different experiences. So are you a dream guy? Do you like looking into dreams? What are your thoughts on the dream?
Dreams are, man, that's such another way of thinking. I generally try to think, like, I watch a lot of science and time travel coming from this thought of like experiments and like, like that actually true. Dreams are so more of psychology, because they can't be studied. Like
it's so hard to like actually get facts on.
Yeah, and they are getting better at that though, because I brought up the monkey being able to play video games, so they are beginning to do tests, and like I think there are some things now they're actually trying to like show your dream. Like I'm pretty sure that was something recent. Like they actually recorded. Like right now it's like fuzzy lights and stuff. So it's like, is it real or not?
Yeah.
So
that would be crazy if you could like replay your dream the next day, like out of nightmare, and then like play it.
Yeah,
kind of be able to study that. That'd be very interesting.
But what's weird about dreams, and this is how I think, is if time's not a real thing, and if we only experience time because it's the way our brain sees how particles are, and then once we see it again, we feel that time is moving. So in your brain, where it's more of like quantum mechanics, like that's the theory of like everything is so small that time does not exist. If things are happening in my brain where time doesn't exist, is like, that feels like closer to my dreams. So like maybe I am connected in some way, because once I'm in that place where time longer exists, I feel like I'm like connected to everything. If that's true or not, I don't know.
It does feel like you're jumping in between like multiverses in your dream.
Yeah.
Like when you're going in the different worlds, it does seem like you're kind of opening those different things.
So now that we're talking about that, did you see the new Doctor Strange movie? Because that is like basically a little bit about that. Well, I don't want to ruin. Spoiler alert.
Any of it. The last superhero movie may have been like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
That's really funny that you asked that question, because that's exactly what happens in there. Like they realize that dreams are part of, or you're connected to the other realities, and that's how you can like manipulate your other selves.
That makes sense.
in the multiverse. So I'm really sweating now from just, I must be like in another realm right now, I think, from all this stuff.
The experiments
from all this stuff. So we're going to try to wrap this up, but I want to talk about a little bit of social media real quick. Do you have, this is not where I wanted this, do you have a favorite TikToker or anything?
This new kid that's weirdly addicting that started popping up, because he does TikTok, but he pops up on my Instagram Reels, which I just call adult TikTok.
Adult TikTok.
Like it's a way that adults think they're not watching TikTok, but they are.
They feel like the algorithm doesn't have them, and I do kind of agree, but I also find that annoying, because the algorithm is the best part of TikTok.
Well, yeah, I get more lost in the sauce, which TikTok is nice, because if you like something, it will just give you that. But this kid's name is Tommy Winkler. And
I think I know who this is.
And I want to look into, because he seems like he comes from money. I'm thinking he's Henry Winkler's like nephew or something. You know, like Fonzie.
What's it? Tommy what?
Tommy Winkler.
Winkler, okay.
Yeah. I think he's related to Henry Winkler.
Probably.
But if you're allowed to pull up one of his videos, he's so smart. So he just starts it. People give him a suggestion of where to eat or what to do, and he has 1 million of these, and he's just making bank.
Is he just eating food? Is that all he does? Is eat food?
It will start up and it will say like, only eat from fast food for the whole day. He's like, okay, and he'll show the time.
He's one of those guys.
And he just eats it. Shows the next thing it'll say like Burger King, eats it, and then it'll pop up and he's in Italy and he's like, try only the American version of foods in Italy, and he's like, okay, and it's him in a restaurant. It's him just trying like different things, and it's. I don't know why every single time I see it, I feel obligated to click on it.
This guy's living in a smart city.
Yeah.
And this is how he's going to live his life. And he's just going to have, instead of Google, it's going to be us.
Literally, just doing that.
Doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just certain people that are just good at it. I get tripped out watching like mukbangs.
Wait, what?
Have you ever heard of those mukbangs?
Mukbangs?
So it's internet people will go to a restaurant and they'll order like everything and sit in their car and try a little bit of everything and just try like a mukbang, and it's like,
I didn't know that was called that.
Yeah, it sounds way more sexual than it is.
It did. It sounded really weird.
Yeah, you're like, Jeff.
Yeah.
You don't tell us this.
As I told you before, we're gonna have a special sex episode for Smart House. This is not it yet.
Yeah, but no, I do like this guy. He's a poker guy on there, and I started playing poker, and he breaks down how he plays.
Okay.
Like where he messed up, and I learned so much better of like seeing him playing and doing a VO of how he messed up and learning. I'm like, oh, so I like watching videos like that too. To kind
learning on TikTok is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's like they got all the crap.
Yeah.
They like the worst thing ever was to get on YouTube when you're looking for a tutorial and it's like that. Tutorial for today. Hey guys, sorry I haven't been here for a while. I've been really busy lately. Today we're gonna do tutorial. Carol, shut up! And it's like I just want to find the preferences to color it blue. You know, Jesus.
And they still haven't logged in. Like, just let me log in real quick.
Oh,
it's like
the worst,
buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. The whole thing. That's like ranting out of nowhere on that one. But that's why I love TikTok. It's just the girth. It's the good stuff. Yeah. But this guy, I love this dude. His name is Moschino Dorito, I think is how he pronounces. Here, I'm gonna show this part. Oh, I gotta rewind this. No.
I don't know what you're talking about. You've never heard that sound? I mean, I'm not doing it justice, but you've never heard that.
That's like every conversation. Like, I'm just having that right now. I figure I just play that. Like, I want to show you something really awesome on TikTok. And it's like, I can't find it. Hold on. It sounds like this. Wait, hold on. I don't got it yet. So I've done that 1 million times.
Yeah, trying to explain something you've seen on TikTok.
Yeah, it doesn't work. But this guy gets it because not only he does like stuff like that.
I've seen this dude before.
He will make sounds, and like sounds going viral on TikTok, I think is the funniest, craziest things.
Yeah.
Like first off, just like random things, like something happens and it makes a sound and that goes viral. But people purposely going out of their way of like trying to make something up, like just yelling. Just like, hey, Tom, hey, knock that off right there. And that's all I did. And you're like, that's a stupid TikTok.
Yeah.
And then a week later, it's viral because some hot chick used it in something. And it's like, I don't understand.
Yeah, where they'll like mouth it. Where I'll see videos where they're like, I've even seen it where they're saying like a comedian's joke and they're mouthing it and using it, where it's just like so weird that the sound is from a creator and they're making content from that creator's sound. It's the most wild shit.
I think I saw about a comedian, she brought this up and she says, my favorite thing is seeing these guys, these dorky guys put all this time in this funny bit they do on TikTok and it gets like no views. And then some hot chick just does lip syncs it and it gets millions of views. It's like, but at the same time, hey, performance is part of the art, all right? Like you didn't pull it off, you had some help, and in the end, I think it's working out. Yeah. Because there's this one chick, and you've probably seen her, and she got famous doing nothing but John Mulaney. It's all, and lots of girls did John Mulaney on TikTok, but this one woman in particular, she was good. But lip syncing is a quality that you can have. That is a talent. Some people suck at it. Some people are so good at it. But she got famous of just doing his jokes. But I think comedians have caught up, and they're taping their sets more. They're taping their sets, video recording. I'm saying taping, Jesus Christ, with better quality, and they're understanding they need the captions. You gotta have captions. I don't know why.
That's been huge. Downloading this caption app. My friend Danny, he's a really funny comic in New Jersey and New York, and he's making like $3,000 to $4,000 every 2 weeks just from doing captionings for like Sam Morril.
Really?
What's her Michelle Wolf, Joe List, like all these comics, because he does shows with them, and he started doing his own captioning and does a really good job, and he reaches out to them and they need a good captioning person. He said he'll spend like 6 hours a day captioning a bunch of different people's videos, and he makes a decent bit off of it. And bigger guys now, he'll be like, hey, instead of tossing me the $70 a video, I'll do 5 videos and I'll only charge you for 3. Can I have a guest spot on your next show?
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. I wonder if he's actually, I doubt he's typing it anymore.
Yeah, this is,
he's got to have, because there's a lot of different technology.
The app is called InShot. So he is literally, so you go frame by frame and you're typing it. And that's what I use now. And it's so funny that you said that, because every show now I bring my camera and I'm just trying to catch, like, there's always a funny crowd work moment. There's always a funny bit moment.
That's how you got to advertise now.
And I felt like I was such an idiot for not doing it before.
It was weird. I think, well, it's because technology has changed is one of the main reasons. But I remember when I was doing like a talk show and I had comedians on, and I kind of wanted, I'm like, yeah, I'm making content, put content out there. And they would be like, yeah, they would put like a bit out there. And then like weeks later, they'd be like, can you take that down? And I'm like, why? It's awesome. And it was always one, like, the joke's better now, and they don't want their old joke up. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And 2, just having like their material up, like, why might I put that on a show? I need that. I can't have it out there. So I think there was that give and take. But now it's just like, you need content, you need content, you need content. And the crowd work stuff is great because
you don't have to waste material.
Yeah, that's not wasting material.
But I do like that you said that, though, where at first we were like a little bit more stringent, but I think now with like YouTube specials and specials being a half hour, and I think that's so smart, because you're dropping it. Say you have an hour, right? And then you drop a special, and so many people start from scratch. And say if your special blows up, and this is your first time you can go on tour after, and you don't have new material, and you're not going to do the same exact shit, I think it's great to drop like a 15-20 minute special, and then have 45 to start with to go on the road that's strong, and build around that. And I'm seeing more comedians look at their specials and shit like that turning into like mixtapes, where instead of having like an album, we're dropping like 2 15-minute mixtapes throughout the year, and those are way more memorable than an hour. I feel, and that's what, and everyone dropping those clips are our singles. Those are like our music singles.
That's what I was about to say. It's just like singles now. Now comedians can do singles, which was never really a thing before.
Because we thought that we had to have it on a platform that looks like, oh, we need to get it on HBO or any of that stuff. But now you just want the most eyes, and YouTube is people's at-home TVs now. Like that's the front and center main thing. So I think, I think it's gonna be a lot cooler seeing more. I'd rather see my favorite comic drop 15 minutes of what he's passionate about twice a year than an hour that he may have been sick of because he had to tour.
And for the most part, comedians, they're making their money traveling and going to the shows.
Yeah,
that's
when you promotion.
Yeah, like when you see people, even back in the day with the HBO special, like that's when you kind of made it.
Yeah.
Like that's not where you're really making. You're not making HBO money. You're making money by going and trying to sell out theaters and clubs. Like that's where the real money is. That's crazy though. But I do see that more on TikTok. It's like, now that the technology, the comedians like smartened up, I see way more stand up. And I need to ask some people that are not into stand up as much, because now that they do that, I see more stand up on TikTok, and I'm starting to wonder, is TikTok kind of like the stand up comedy medium now? Is it becoming? Because that's where I'm saying, oh, that's a new guy.
Yeah.
And he has like a new bit, or a new way a new thought. I'm like, oh, that's different. Like it's used to have to go to the club to actually see that kind of stuff, or wait for someone to put together a show on Netflix or HBO, and it still wasn't the same. It's like intake. You're like, okay, I saw a whole show in my living room. Now that's gone. Yeah,
that is funny you said that, because a person I really like is Nick Coletti, and I respect that he's touring now, doing a lot more stand up. But he got that touring from his stand-up from people liking him on Vine. So they're seeing those little things and they're like, oh shit, I will go see him at the club. And that is funny that if there's this comedian, I think his name's Jamie Wolf now. He's like around my age in New York. And I've seen so many of his clips that I'm like, fuck, I need to see him live. And that's so cool. Like it worked where I was like, oh damn, where like you said, he would have had to came to the Improv, or he would have had to came somewhere for me to catch him and kind of.
Now you get famous off Vine. What was that guy's name?
Nick Coletti.
Is that the guy? Because I'm just balling with my dad. I'm just balling with my bros. Yeah. I saw him. He was at Spirit a couple weeks ago. I saw him down there.
I think Matt opened for him the past couple times.
Oh, really? Really?
That,
yeah. That's honestly, it's probably my favorite Vine of all time. The other guy is Casey Frey.
Casey Frey is so fucking funny, dude.
Oh God, he's touring now too. I want to see him, and he's like a professional dancer.
His dances are so, and the way he does it, like funny too. Like, I don't know why. His
son, I need you to come outside, and like it's just like, stop, Dad. I just want to ball my bros. Oh, that is the funniest thing ever.
And that's the other thing is it's so good too, where it's just like you're laughing, but then you're also like, he's a good dancer.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm pretty sure he actually is professionally trained. I see him do other things. I follow him all over social media. He's got to be a professional dancer because, and that whole kind of group, I really like that comedy style. Because there's another group called like, it's not Shades, it's Shurdles. I can't remember this guy's names, but they're like the same. It's that real quick, obviously mostly shot on the iPhone. You know, at least the early stuff was like real over the top characters, fuckboy characters. I think he does a lot. I love that stuff. So, all right. Well, I think we're wrapping. How long did we go on this one? We went an hour and 10. That's I know. We had that pre-show going. So, anyways, do you have any plugs? Any shows coming up you'd like to go to and your podcast?
Go on Jeff_Fieldhouse on Instagram. Jeff _Fieldhouse on Twitter. Jeff Fieldhouse on Facebook. This week I'm gonna be posting the bunch of the shows for June. So please go on that. I'll always be posting on my story. Or if you go on my page, I'll leave up one of those little links so you can check out all of that. At Babyface Assassin Podcast on all social medias. I took about a 2-week hiatus because I like interviewing guests. I was doing that for a while, but I had like 5 people reach out and say like, can we have a solo episode where we get more of Jeff? Because I noticed that I love interviewing people. And one thing we talked about before is like the questions. I used to prepare so much. In the past like 5 episodes, I have like 5 things that I genuinely like about the people that I want to know, and the rest is just open convo because I trust that I can have an entertaining open conversation. But yeah, I took 2 weeks off to like format how I want to do it, and I finally feel comfortable enough to do it in front of myself. And I want to maybe drop like an interview once a month, but then the other 2 weeks, I just want to start doing solo. And
you're gonna do a solo one? Yeah. Have you done it before?
Yeah, I've done it once before, and during quarantine, I did a couple. Yeah. And my reactions were really good, but I was just like, well, no, people only watch it for the other people. And I was like, well, if I'm doing stand-up and people like me and they come to my podcast and they see that I'm like a fucking James Corden or whatever, and I'm not even like having my personality while I ask the questions. Like, even with this, you put your you injected your personality in the topics to make us talk like that.
And I didn't do it at first. I did it like 3 different ways, and I was like, this didn't work, and this didn't work, and I was like,
you figured it out. And now when people come to watch his show, it has they're leaving like they're leaving Dustin's house, where it's a Dustin hang, and people are coming
leaving
to
the smart house
to hang, and that's where I feel like my podcast was good. I have a lot of people supporting it, but I need to add that layer of skin. That's the Jeff layer of skin, and then go back to interviewing. And I feel like that's where I was, and I had a few interviews I could just put out, but I just was like 2 weeks to fucking figure this shit out.
Well, I think you're right. What happens is like maybe the podcast doesn't actually have its own personality because it's so different every single week. I did once or twice. I think I tried to do a Smart House by myself, and it was too hard. Like I felt very alone. I was like, I need someone to bounce off. But I did years ago. I did do a thing called the Beardy Boy Vlog, which was me straight up talking to the camera and just a bunch of different things. But I would go and edit that, like really cut it up. So like I had this feeling that I would do takes and stuff like that. And actually, one of the main reasons when I did Smart House, I didn't want to do that way because it took me so long to edit those videos back in the day. And I was like, I want to get it out first, and then we're done, and that's it. So when you said Jeff Fieldhouse, you said Jeff _. Is that on every single one? You got the big underscore?
Yeah, so I got the big underscore under all of that. So check it out. And if you just type in Jeff Fieldhouse, I'm not what's it called, shadow ban. So you'll find me.
You'll find me.
You can see all that. But yeah, check out the socials. Check out the new solo pod. Let me know how you like it this week. And yeah, just podcast, stand up, and
podcast, stand up, and
also,
ooh.
I started hosting a lot more music shows.
Oh, I thought this was gonna be like breaking news exclusive. We'll say it. Breaking news exclusive.
Vasectomy. Just podcast, and then I hang out with a lot of musicians and stuff like that. So I've been hosting a lot more of the shows. So it's always cool doing stand up and being a host at music gigs.
That's cool.
Because a lot of those people will be like, "I'll come to your show. I've never been to stand up," and I'm like, "Well, that's weird." Yeah,
and vice versa will hopefully happen.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I like. Last thing I'll say before I keep going on a tangent. Doing by yourself's hard, having a person to bounce it off of. That's why I like you and Matt, because hearing you laugh, hearing you have tags is awesome for him too. And it's comforting. That's why I like the Tim Dillon podcast, because you got Ben right there, kind of being the one-man audience that steers the ship. Like, Tim's the boat, and then Ben's the wave of like if something's funny or something. And when I saw Matt do that, I was like, yes, he has a Ben. He has someone that can like.
I want to have a show where it's like me, Ben, Jamie, and just all the producers. Like, we're just on one show together.
So
like,
hit up Mel Brooks. Can we have the name of the producers? For
I follow Ben by himself on Twitter and everything, because I'm like,
follow.
dude, you're the other multiverse of me. Like, this is like you are. What'd you do here? How'd you get here? How'd you get hair? By the way, you have really good hair.
Really good hair.
He does have really
Great
good hair.
glasses.
It's annoying.
Yeah,
Let's not talk about Ben, because he's
All
like
right.
the good. He's like the good looking version of me. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This is Smart House. You can see all our stuff on www.thepitts.company. You can see all the podcasts, all the videos we do. It's an endless amount of funny and informative content from Pittsburgh. We do have a Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/thepitts.
Toss some shekels, huh?
Yeah, we had some pre-show stuff that I will throw up on there. But the big link, the main link, is www.thepitts.company. And this is Smart House, guys. Thank you for watching.